Hello, everyone. I am Zartaj Ahmed, CEO and co-founder of CuriosityNet, which is a professional network for students providing opportunities of reskilling, upskilling, and career growth. On behalf of the CXO Global Forum, I welcome you all to this super exciting panel discussion on future ready skills today with a superb lineup of speakers, a topic that is very close to my heart. And with this, I'd like to quickly introduce our guests for an insightful discussion on the topic. As the panelists, we have Ron Thomas, Managing Director at Strategy Focused Group. He's done his BS in Business Administration from Benedict College and is a certified Master Human Capital Strategist, Strategic Workforce Planner, and Global Human Capital Strategist. He's been named one of the 50 most talented global HR leaders in Asia by World HRD Congress. Next, we have Mohammed Ghazali, who is the CEO at Transwitty, and he possesses a BCS in computer science from Preston Institute of Management Science and Technology. He's the CEO of Transwitty, a leading software development company and technology subsidy of Famco Associate. He's also a senior executive director at Ecovis Al Sabti, Saudi Arabia. We have Mubeen Ahmed, who is the Deputy Director at CMA CED Superior University. He holds a Master's in Human Resource Management and MPhil in Business Administration and Management. As a Deputy Director at the Superior Group, he's involved in recruitment, training and development, and performance management. He's also certified in design thinking and project management life skill. Lastly, we have Dr. Irfan Heather, who hasn't joined us as yet, but I would like to introduce him. He is the Vice Chancellor at Ziauddin University. Dr. Heather did his MS and PhD from University of Texas. He did his BE from NED and MBA from IBA Karachi. He has a wide experience in academic leadership, consultancy, entrepreneurial ventures, training, research, and design and implementation of innovative programs. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us today. I think these days, all discussions start from COVID, and so I'm going to take the same start. COVID-19 has left an indelible mark on lives across the globe, disrupting workplaces, schools, travel, and health and well-being. In the world of business, every industry has been challenged in dramatic and unexpected ways. I'm going to begin by sharing this excerpt from a Forbes article on developing future-ready talent for the future economy. To emerge stronger from the crisis, we must all look beyond the immediate challenges and plan for the longer term, even as we continue our collective efforts to battle this pandemic. Education and training, skills and jobs are interrelated, but distinct issues. Education and training seek to prepare learners for job opportunities while providing people with skill sets to strengthen the economy and create new jobs. Jobs, on the other hand, are demand-driven and responsive to global macroeconomic trends and market needs. Many things may have changed this year due to the pandemic, but the global trends impacting future-ready talent remain unchanged. I believe movement restrictions are accelerating the structural shifts that already existed before COVID-19. They include accelerating digital trajectories with large-scale support of digital transformation at the institutional and national levels, widening skills gap due to rapid technological change and short innovation cycles, and a greater emphasis on soft skills. In fact, even before this pandemic took place, the World Economic Forum highlighted in its 2018 Future of Jobs report that between 2018 and 2022, the skills required to perform most jobs would have shifted significantly by an average of 42%. This shift will likely only accelerate. So with this, I begin my questions to the esteemed group of people over here. So my first question with all of you today here is, what are the top 3 future-ready skills and how do they relate to some or most of the jobs of the future? I'd like to begin with Ron, if that's okay. Ron, you can please go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, well, so we know technology is going to be huge because we've had our issues here this morning, correct? So Microsoft uses this concept called the 5 Cs, which is creativity, critical thinking, computational thinking, communication, and collaboration. So one of the things that's come up out of the COVID, pre-COVID, COVID, and post-COVID is the lack of those skills for a lot of leaders. Leaders may have been in a kind of a fixed mindset. Organizations, in some cases, were a fixed mindset. So there's going to have to be a switch over to a more soft skills, growth mindset approach, because the challenges that a workforce is going through, it's going to take another level of thinking to get people to understand that. So there was a report by KPMG that said 81% of those surveyed that said managers needed to be retrained or upskilled to oversee a hybrid workforce. I did a project a few weeks ago for a major grocery chain here in Dubai, and that's what we talked about. Old leadership, new leadership, old leadership discussion, because these are things that each individual is struggling with, but maybe has not taken it upon themselves to begin the process of making that transformation. So I would say those are the key points from my side.
Thank you very much, Ron. So the same question, Mohammed Ghazali, would you like to comment on that? The top 3 future-ready skills, and how do they relate to some or most of the jobs of the future? You'd have to unmute yourself, Mohammed Ghazali. Thank you.
Thank you. As my perspective of future-ready skill will be directly proportionate to the market we are operating, not versus the global requirements. So what I experienced over the past 1 year in the software side and 20 years into management consulting within Pakistan and Middle East, that if we look at our future-ready skill currently, we have to grow from a negative maturity level towards a neutral maturity level from the academia perspective point of view. Now, when I look at academia perspective point of view, apart from very few institutions in Pakistan, mostly education is based on curriculum based. Whereas the latest trend of the future-ready skill set is completely on the basis of critical thinking and case-based learning. When we get the candidate, or when young candidates, the most important thing is to articulate a problem statement. Articulation of problem statement is not yet been trained into the universities where we are getting our resources. So initially, we need to put a lot of time into just documenting or articulating the problem statement into a proper paragraph. That's where the whole journey starts. That's what I call a negative future skill maturity. So yes, that is why now our universities need to start, looking at the segment of articulation as the most important factor, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. So Munib, would you like to answer this question? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was really nice discussion having the partners. For me, as I belong to an education sector, as well as I have also experienced in a corporate sector. For me, as I was reading some articles and some researches about the future-ready graduates, so I was reading that LinkedIn conducted a survey of over 400 employers, and they have anonymously told that 90% of the top level people wants to hire those graduates who have more broad range of the interpersonal skills and the soft skills rather than the hard and technical skills. Once I was in my student life, and we learned those books which are obsolete at that time, and then definitely currently university teachers are also teaching those technologies and those concepts that are obsolete right now. So we have a gap in academia and the industry. For me, the most important skill that a graduate must have, that is the emotional intelligence, the empathy, the emotional science, and how to connect with the people. Second most, as I guess, it could be the leadership and the teamwork. He must have the ability to work among the team. He must have the ability to work and to lead our project, our team. There must be a skill for leadership and teamwork. And last, I must say that organizational awareness must be on top. You must know the culture of the organization. You must know the people of the organization. Technical skills and the hard skills are continuous to learn. They are continuously reviving day by day, time to time. But the organizational awareness, the culture of the organization, the people of the organization, and the management structure of the organization is most important. For me, these are relevant to the soft skills, and students and teachers and the academia, or maybe the corporate world must focus on these skills while hiring.
Thank you very much for that. And this brings me, to a question which will automatically arise: that how deep do you think is the disconnect between the education imparted in universities today and the real life employment outside of the walls of the university? It's a very critical question. And what steps do you think should be taken to address this critical aspect? So yeah, Munib, you can carry on since you're on this topic, and then I'll ask Ron and Ghazali to continue. Yes.
For the practical reasons, we've started to inculcate this knowledge among the students through life management skills. We've started a degree program, a certification program before the before the inauguration of the real-time degree program or graduation or maybe the master. We have initiated a life management skill program which consists of 2 months, where we give them the emotional intelligence. I took emotional intelligence training back in 2017, and it was huge training, and it has multiple dimensions to cover. We tell them how the brain works. We tell them how thinking process goes on. We tell them how to empathize with the people. We also tell them how to collaborate with the people. Then in these sessions, we also give them the training, a proper training of 1 day with a specified trainer on leadership and teamwork. And if we talk about the empathy, empathy is best suitable with the design thinking. As we last year in COVID, we took an opportunity to train our staff and train ourselves from the Webster, from the Stanford University of USA. We took the certifications from there. And then we translate that knowledge among all the faculties and the students. How to empathize with your customers, how to empathize with your members, how to empathize with your company, or maybe the bosses, maybe the higher ups. So that would be the initiation phase of the problem statement that the other respective member highlighted. The students do not know about how to create a problem and how to state that problem into a paragraph. We are giving them the knowledge through the design thinking process. So that is why I'm confident that we are imparting the 21st century graduates attributes into our students. We'll tell you further into next question. So how we are contributing towards the graduate life, that would create and that will strengthen the bridge, and that will strengthen the gap between the industry and academia. We generated a program that is called 3U1 and 3-year university, and 1 year in market. That is inspired by the Stanford University.
All right, thank you very much. The same question for you, Ron, if you can comment on, how deep is the disconnect between the education given in universities and the real life employment?
Having dealt with universities and what I see now from the corporate side, there's a huge disconnect. Real life skills, when, schools are about memorization for a test and facts and remembering all these things. But it comes back to, as Mr. Muhammad talked about, how do you create a problem statement? There's a challenge in your department and said, if you have 1 hour to solve a problem, you take 55 minutes to understand it. How do you diagnose? And, when we talked about this, the key competencies that were needed, we talked about critical thinking, creativity, all of these kinds of things, looking at a problem or challenge within and begin the process of how do you solve that? How do you have that discussion around it? And it may not be a fact, lying into one answer. How do you collaborate with that team to make that happen? The other key point I want to mention is leadership. Leadership, for the most part inside of an organization, is going to have to rethink the way, not only the way they're doing business, but the way they're managing people. When the other speaker talked about design thinking, one of the keys of design thinking is putting yourself in someone else's shoes. So that may not be a direct style of leadership out of that toolkit. That may be more of a collaborative approach. To give an example, hybrid workforces. I noticed that Apple is going to require people to come in on Mondays and Fridays. And my first thought was, who came up with Mondays and Fridays? Did they survey the workforce of however many thousand they had and come up with it that way? Or was that a directive coming down? So this directives coming down it's going to need to be rethought, and it's going to be a collaborative approach. When it's a collaborative approach solution, you have more people buying into that and you can move forward. The other key point is org design. In every function is transitioning to something else. Marketing to social media marketing. Where are we with this particular function? So if they were to analyze each function within an organization, finance to financial modeling from, say, bookkeeping or paying bills or whatever, accounts payable, all those skills in every department is going to have to be diagnosed, those job tasks, and begin the process of building that. And the other point I wanted to mention was that in 2019 at Davos, IBM gave a fantastic speech about the importance of organizations reaching back out into school systems and building partnerships to start developing this next level of workers, next level of people. One key point I wanted to mention to you, it's that McKinsey's study, 65% of today's primary school students will perform jobs that have not been invented yet. So how are you going to do? You can't do that in a vacuum. That means everyone is going to have to connect in some way, some type partnership to build that out. And there's no correct way to do that. So if I can get close to 60, 70%, that's better than doing it blindly and just pushing people out of the door like a product, and the product doesn't equate to what the so-called customer is looking for. And I think if we use that kind of a marketing approach product-wise, we're creating a product in school systems. How is that product going to translate out into the marketplace?
Thank you, Ron, for those thoughts. Mohammed Ghazali, the same question for you, please.
Yeah. First of all, let me thank Muneeb and Ron to very correctly articulate that issue. And without repeating what they very well already articulated, I just want to ponder around a few of the things in the context of Pakistan academia versus industry gap. Now, my always question is, and that is where I am very regular advocate about the faculty capability to take out the students what we are getting as the output. Now, my question is that how many of the startup owners in Pakistan are actually giving some time to the faculties, in the faculties. Number one. Number two, how many of our faculty members have ever contributed to a startup in Pakistan, which is a reality? Number three, why it is not happening? Because, in my opinion, and I also validate that the remuneration of our faculty versus the remuneration of my CTO, so the head of department of my CTO, where he got graduated, and my CTO salary after pass out is double than the salary of the head of the department. In my opinion, this is the biggest problem in the context of what we are not being able to achieve in Pakistan when we talk about the critical thinking. My CTO, who have sold $300 on Fiverr, he can understand much better about critical thinking and future ready skill sets than the head of the department, who have only stood alone behind the podium and repeating the topics from the books and giving them numbers on artificial projects and giving them degree on a project which is not practically connected to the backend database. So these kind of challenges, what we really look into, and I feel that unless in Pakistan context, it will not look at the remuneration of the faculty, we will be in negative future ready country. Thank you.
Thank you. I think indeed a very important point that you've highlighted, the capacity building of the faculty and teachers. And I can completely relate to it. And I'll quickly share that I started my career in education. I was working in a corporate job. And after having my kids who were very young, I started working at a school. I underestimated the job of a teacher. And when I started working over there, I was not coming from the traditional teaching background. And so I was teaching ICT, and I wanted to give all the skills and practical knowledge to my students. So if we were doing databases, I would tell them, hey, think about how Google uses databases. And I was not that, traditional teacher, with no offense to any teacher, because I'm a teacher myself. So I can completely relate to what, Mohammad Ghazali is saying. So in the best interest of time, I'll just move on with the other questions that we want to touch upon while we're at this topic. And it's such an interesting conversation with you people. So Muneeb, coming from my teaching background, I'm a tech entrepreneur as well. And I work very closely with high school, college, and university students. I hire them, I train them and everything. Students and new graduates are concerned about internships and job opportunities offered in the market while they're early in their career, and they're not relevant to their field of study. I've interviewed many people who complain that most of the companies are hiring interns to do social media marketing, general office work, while their degree is in, let's say, data science, or their interest is in data science. And hence, those internships will not help them develop their skill set. So what steps can academia take to improve this situation? And I would just quickly want you to answer. So I have 2 more questions for the rest of the speakers. Thank you.
Okay, who's going to take that one?
Actually, the question is very right and to the point. Basically, we started a program that is 3U1M, where students learn about the degree courses and the elective courses prescribed by the higher education. And 1 year, we have given them the liberty to choose your field of study. One is you can choose design challenge. Design challenge is basically to get the problem from industry and give them the solution. Second one is the startup field. We have our own incubation center. That is, if you want to go to the startup, then we give them the access to our incubation and to start their business. And third one is the accelerator. If you have your family business, if you have your uncle's business, you want to accelerate it, we have an accelerator, you can go there. And these 3 domains are associated with the degree. If you are able to produce the results in terms of companies or maybe the corporate sector satisfaction, in terms of your startup earning some money, your scale-up have some impact as the previous, then they are able to get the degree. This program we have started 2 years back. Before 2 years, we are also the same type of university than the rest of the university. We call it the factory of unemployment, बेरोजगारों की factory. So जो Ghazali Saab was really telling right, the remuneration of the faculty member is very low as compared to the corporate world. But Ghazali Saab, there is certain dynamics also associated with education industry. Education industry is not, right now earning much money than the corporate sector. That's why they are less paid. Yes, you are again right that the skill set and the knowledge level of the faculty is low. What we are doing at our level, we are forcing our people to get the knowledge through edX, through EDU, through Khan's Academy. There are lots of courses, there are lots of knowledge from the all international universities that are freely available for faculty, for students as well. What we are teaching, that is already taught by someone else in a very better manner on those platforms. Why don't the students go there on edX, on Coursera, on Khan's Academy? They can learn more and far better knowledge than our faculty and our universities giving to them. The best is the thing is, they need to work on their personalities. They need to work on their emotional skills. They need to work on their communication, either the written, either the spoken, and they have to do, the collaboration, to work with others, and then they are able to get the jobs, the internships. Our alumni department is focusing on, we have target of 100% employment of the graduates. This year, we are graduating about 1,500 graduates from different fields, and they are all 100% allocated in different industries. I can bet you, and I assure you that 100% we have inducted them into the industry through our 3U1M program.
Thank you very much, Muneeb. That was very, very interesting perspective. I'm going to move on to Ron, and there's a very interesting question that has come from the audience, and I'd like to put that forward. One bit of advice for the prospective candidates, in your opinion, what would be the deal breaker to help them get through with their interviews and prosper in the corporate world? Ron, would you like to take that?
Yeah, that's a two-pronged question. How do I get through the interview, and then once I get in, how do I prosper beyond that? So let's take the first phase of that. Is that if you have an interview with a company, two things you should need to worry about. Your LinkedIn profile needs to be updated. Your LinkedIn profile is your billboard to the world, and it's free. So there's no need to not have that. Now, if you are contacted by someone, or if you see a job that you want, do your research. 55.5, Einstein quote, works in every situation. What do you know about the company? What about the product line? Have you glanced at their last listened to their last earnings call? So do you understand that business if it's a publicly traded company? If not, Google it. What can you learn about that particular company? Then you take it a step up. What about the industry? What's the transformation points in that industry? So you want full knowledge when you get there. Now, once you get inside, you need to begin thinking about, how do I sell myself to this organization? Clicking off bullet points? No. You think in terms of, how have I been successful? What projects did I create when I was in university that were successful? What are some projects that we worked on that had an impact, whether it be the community or whether it be inside of the school? Success modeling is, here's what I've done and here's what I can bring to your organization. So you've got to kind of turn into kind of a sales mode. If you have your background on the particular company, you can talk maybe market share. You could talk maybe social media approach that they use for a certain product that why did you apply here? Because I saw the job posting? No, because I saw some of the projects you're creating around the world, and I have a huge interest in that. You have to think in terms of conversational, building a conversation around me coming in and having an impact in your organization. And you're going to have to sell that. But if you do your research and you understand as much as you possibly can about that organization, you have a better chance of doing that. The other thing I would tell you is go to Glassdoor and get an understanding of what the people that work there are saying or the people that left there are saying. I know there's a lot of controversy. People say, well, it's just disgruntled employees. If you've got 200 responses there, no one had a Zoom call to coordinate that. So you read through that to get an understanding of the inside before you get there, and you understand the business side. And that way you're going to be a lot more impactful during that interview.
Cool. Sounds good, Ron. Thank you very much for that. I hope that has very well addressed the question. So my last question is with Mohammed Ghazali, and I just, after that, I just want a one-line, concluding remark for the audiences that we have. So Mohammed Ghazali, you hire tech talent for export projects, right? What are some of the challenges that you face when you onboard people, and how does your organization navigate through those challenges?
Correct. Thank you. See, Zartaj, the problem is very simple. The simplest problem is alignment of the faculty academia curriculum versus to the modern one. For example, when we graduated, we learn how to write a letter to a customer or to a vendor. Is there any university in Pakistan which is training or teaching email etiquettes in a business class, English class? Is there any? Now we are no more writing letters. We are writing emails. Is there any university? Every graduate student has gone through a subject called business communication. Have we upgraded our business communication curriculum to teach them about the email etiquettes? No. So this is the training what I have to give when I hire the guy. When I onboard a guy, I have to start from giving them a orientation training of email etiquettes, because when they join us, they send us a CV with attachment without any text. So they don't know that how offensive it is in the corporate world to sending an attachment to HR without any text, because HR asks them to submit their CV and they do the same. So for those who will train them that sending an email without a text body is considered as offensive in the corporate world? This is what I call negative user radius skill set. That if we don't go, 90% of the students I hired, I gave them a test, a one-line test. Write a sentence with the word I in between. 90% write I with a small letter. They are graduates from a reputed university, and nobody told them or marked them this bad habit. So these this is, it is the growth of the growth hidden in the details. In the details where we want to work in a corporate world with a 2 billion from $2 billion to $6 billion industry, where our academia is so disconnected. I was happy to see Dr. Irfan Heather when I saw the panel, and but unfortunately he is not here. But these are the facts, and I give a complete assurance to anyone to go and test these kind of things, what we face on everyday basis. So my first thing while hiring the graduates is to bring them a basic maturity level to survive in the existing pool of contacts and survive with the current customers. Because when they write these kind of things and when you do these kind of blunders, that completely express the overall forte of my organization. That this kind of people I'm dealing with who cannot keep the detail of writing an email to close and open an email, to close an email, to put the comma at the right place, these kind of things. This is what our faculty should give to the students, etiquettes of. Now they are lucky. For example, when we send our dress code to the people, they ask, please explain casual. What is casual smart? What is a smart casual? They cannot Google what is a smart casual. Today, the smart casual, you Google out what is a smart casual, and what is formal and what is a smart formal. So they are lucky. When we graduated, we were not having Google. How we survive in this market, God knows, and God and we knows. All of us of the same era, actually. So I can say this. But why these issues are not coming into the consideration of faculty? This is the matter of concern, and that is where I call it negative future reading. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed Ghazali Saab. Very important point highlighted. I have a 16-year-old, my own son, and I tell him, and I'll make him listen to the recording of this session just because he's writing the emails like that, and I'm sitting with him, guiding him. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen. It was a lovely conversation. I just want one-line remarks. I'll start off with Ron. He has something important to add about mentorship. So I welcome that, and just one-line remark to end this session. Thank you very much. Yes, Ron, please go ahead.
There was a concept in New York years ago, each one teach one. It is all of our responsibility for everyone that's listening in that may be working inside of corporate. We have to reach back and bring these people along. Tips: join groups on Facebook. Someone sends you an inquiry for a job, as opposed to not responding, maybe you respond and tell them how to research better. If someone is a chemist that sends me a request for a job, I'm going to kind of give them a tutorial on how do you do research before you send a note like this out. It is our responsibility as business leaders across the globe to bring the next generation into what we're seeing and give them advice from our side. We can't always depend on the organization or the government. If everyone did that, we would have a future-ready workforce. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ron. Munib.
Thank you very much. Basically, all the panelists were really saying like, we don't have business ethics. We don't have such type of skills among the students. We are focusing, but yes, there is a huge gap among the industry and academia. Academia wants something else due to the regulations of Higher Education Commission. I suggest next time if you people would have this type of discussion, you must involve higher education representative for the this type of policies and procedures. They would have better understanding and they would have better point of view of what they are doing. Yes, HEC is also doing such wonderful initiatives nowadays, and they have compulsory. They have given the compulsory for the internships and the all the certain requirements where students can learn about the business ethics and the organizational awareness. Yes, Ron also gave us the very right direction about the mentorship. We at our level must guide our students, must give them the insights of the corporate world for the better industry-ready graduates, for the better future skills we can impart them for the healthy and superior nation.
Right. Thank you very much. With this, I would just end this, amazing panel discussion. The keynote speaker for the next session is here. So thank you very much. And I think we should keep in touch and hope everyone enjoys the summit for the rest of the day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.